One, two, three. Alright, looks like recording is good. Hey viewers and people and stuff, welcome back to Higurashi. You know, truth be told, I'm actually already finished my recording quota for the week. As you guys may or may not know, I usually am like 1 week ahead of the of my schedule, so like I'm usually 3 episodes ahead of what's being uploaded on that day, but it's getting pretty exciting, and I don't actually have another. I haven't decided yet on what my secondary visual novel will be. Well, I have, but I just need to like patch it apparently. Since I actually she found it while cleaning my desk. Apparently, I had a disc for a visual novel, so I might as well play that instead of paying for a new one. I'll probably like, because I think the Steam summer sale is coming soon, right? Where like every game's on sale. I'll probably pick up all the Higurashi games so far and all the Fault ones too, so we can play that. But yeah, enough of that. Oh yeah, and I thought I didn't notice because I thought we were on chapter 9 last episode, but we just finished chapter 9. So this is chapter 10. This might be the last chapter. I don't know if it is. 10's just a nice number. But there could be more. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Pretty excited. I'm gonna close my window. I feel like there's a lot of background noise. And I don't know where it's coming from because that's not a train. Maybe it's a plane. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. Oh yeah, I didn't do a recap. Recap time. I forgot. What did we do? Yeah. Mion and Rena came over to give us some food, some mochi, and they both went scary mode. So can confirm it's not just Rena. They pretty much like threatened us, and when we ate the mochi, Rena had like put something metallic in, and we almost choked on, which I commented that might be how Tomotachi-san died. It's instead of some crazy drug, maybe he was just trying to get something out of his throat. And I talked about the mochi references at the end of the video and how they can represent the group, since 5 mochi, 5 group of friends. They all look the same and kind of taste similar, but one's out of place. And I said that could be Taichi. Or though I guess that might be Rena, but no, it's probably Taichi. And stuff like that. Anything else? Not really. We also saw Taichi do this weird inner monologue that sounds like he's being brainwashed, and I gave the theory that maybe Taichi is being brainwashed, and a lot of what he's seeing is actually just from a weird perspective, because the talk with Spooky Ren and Spooky Mion weren't actually that bad. Like, they didn't, like, if you actually look at the dialogue, a lot of it seems maybe normal. Like, maybe they just found out that Taichi was talking with some stranger and they were curious, right? And maybe it's more of a perception thing from Taichi because he's, being brainwashed or something. Something like that. Anyways, let's get into this. I think I read that. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. I think that's just the parents, not someone else, by the way. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then it's just your parents. Oh, called it. I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door.
何ケイチ、どうしたの？
あ、ごめん。
That was an easy bait.
寝ぼけてた。
I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m. But the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. Oops. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance fell off. Yeah. About the perception thing, what if the mochis were just normal and Keiichi just imagined the nail? I don't know. It's kind of weird because there's not a lot of proof to it, but it also doesn't feel like it's that far off. Especially since he's sick right now. So that might be also... Maybe it's not even brainwashing. Maybe he's just super stressed and him being sick, even having a fever, might be manipulating his senses. Yeah. Okay, stop rambling. Let's actually get through this. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
どうケイチ、体の調子はどう？学校行けそう？
We probably should. I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it pierced my tongue? There is undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Or it could be real. Yeah. Just to clarify, I'm not like certain on the Keiichi delusional stuff. I'm actually less certain than real stuff that's happening on it. I'm just throwing it out there. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with the razor inside would have been a joke compared to this.
ちゃんと病院は行った？お薬は飲んだの？
うん。まあ一応。
Yeah, and he didn't even take his medicine. Check. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill.
一度生活のリズムを崩すとなかなか戻らないんだから。さあ、起きて起きて。病は気からって言うのよ。
I heard that line many times before. I was given an award in an elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
さあさあ、顔洗ってらっしゃい。ご飯はもうできてるわよ。もうレナちゃんが来るまであまり時間がないわよ。
Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day.
そうそう。今の壁にぼたもちを投げつけたのは
Yeah,
ケイ
when
チ。
were they gonna comment on that?
ダメよ、あんなことしちゃ。お父さん、怒ってたわよ。
I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow, came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. Yeah, I agree with that. That sounds That's just what they want, right? If I acted differently, someone like Uishi-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. And it seems that was something that girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Is that how it's going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would, almost creepily, just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal.
そんな虫のいい話あるわけ？
I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea that I just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. That could be true too. Didn't really think of that. That maybe they actually don't want to kill Keiichi, but they're being forced to by the rules of Hinamizawa. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? Because I just thought that they're not even in their state of mind, that they're being controlled. But if they are actually controlling themselves, then they could be empathetic to Keiichi. I think they're still brainwashed, so I guess that doesn't really matter. I'm like 80% sure they're being brainwashed. But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying, if I just forget everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven.
Keiichi! ご飯冷めちゃうわよ。急いで降りてらっしゃい。早くしないとレナちゃんが来ちゃうわよ。
あ、今行くよ。
I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. Hey, the mochi's cleaned. I picked at my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Ding dong. I jumped up at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried me along.
ほら、レナちゃん来ちゃったわよ。急いで急いで。
My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side. Was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway.
ケイチ君、遅かったから来てみたけど、今日はどうかな？かな？
The manner in which Rena was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rena I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberments. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death, and the terminal illness and suicide, the fatal beatings, and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Rena and Mion were scary. Of course. Forget it all. Forget about all of it. Oh, this is so eerie. Forget about the mochi, too. Forget, forget, forget. See Keiichi's mind going crazy. Rena once again asked to make sure.
学校行けそう？
あ、大丈夫だよ。
よかった。じゃあ行こう。 みーちゃん待ってるよ。
Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. Okay, I thought she was gonna change.
なのにさとこちゃんね、絶対にできるって意地になっちゃって。
Yeah, we're gonna see Satoko and Rita. It's been like forever. That's gonna be fun. The only happy thing that's happening so far. And trains. Love me some trains. As we were watching, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff. More so than usual.
それで
さとこちゃん不吉祥だから何度やってもできないの。はう、かいかったんだよ。
Yes, more cute mode, less spooky mode. Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It's rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us.
あれケイチちゃんにレナちゃん、今日はちょっと遅いんじゃないの？ミオンちゃん先に行くって言ってたわよ。
はあ、みーちゃん怒ってるかな。怒ってるかな。早く行こう、ケイチくん。
After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Rena turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile.
あ、ケイチくん笑った。
なんだよ。
Rena stopped and stared at me.
ケイチくん、今朝もなんか元気なかったから、まだ風邪が治らないのかなって思ってたけど、大丈夫みたいだね。だね。
With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was bright. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maibara, how can you still doubt Rena after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today, and I imagined everything, and I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. That's what I thought. Except, not like maybe part of your fever, but I think it's like something more than that. Yeah, maybe you're delirious. Don't bring it up. You're trying to discredit my theory. Like you did with my women theory, which is ruined, kinda. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night, I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wish for these past few days. As long as Rena kept smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling.
で、ケイチくん、
Oh no, don't bring up the mochi.
昨日のおはぎ、ちゃんと食べてくれた？
Chills. The vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. Or if you're just hallucinating, maybe she is just asking that sincerely. Never know. Positivity.
ケイチくん、
See? I don't know. Or again, if she was in a brainwashed state, she wouldn't even know about the trap. So, yeah, I think this is just sincere. I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maibara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and my mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly.
おー？
Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seemed that wasn't as long as a pause as I thought. Somehow I finally squeaked at the rest.
うまかった。
However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well.
そうなんだ。で、全部食べたのかなかな
Okay, I don't know. I don't know. She's actually being pretty sketchy now. My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Is that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here.
いや、全部は食べきれなかったからさ。まだ残ってるんだよ。
I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it.
あれれどれがレナが作ったのか当てる宿題はどうなっちゃったのかな
あの宿題って今日までだったっけ？
うん、今日までなんだよ。みーちゃん怒るよ。きっと罰ゲームだね。
We both laughed at each other again. To the casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it's just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this diddling Rena. Don't do that, Jesus. I recalled that unexpected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Wishi-sen told me, didn't he?
実は調べてみたら、竜宮さんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんです。
Yeah, she has some sort of wild side.
学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだとか。
Yeah. I actually do think that she might have, like I said, she is super emotional, so maybe if she gets angry, she'd act out pretty crazy. But I don't think this is part of the disorder, because Mion was doing the same thing, right? But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school, breaking the windows with a bat. I don't think they said with a bat. Actually, I don't know, that picture doesn't even look that good. Her face looks really weird. I think that's the first CG I don't actually really like from this game. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Did they say she broke it with a glass, or broke it with a bat? I don't remember. Her classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Rena smiling at me right now. See, she has no dead fish eyes though, right? I don't know. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. The naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattered glass. The crunchy noises as Rena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Rena's classmates growing pale as they forgot to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, they weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could protect themselves. If they had done something different from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would, be the next window. Rena stared into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Rena struck me with the bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hit me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make as pleasant as a sound as the other windows. Also, I just remembered that in the very beginning of the novel, there's a scene of someone beating someone with a bat to death, right? Is this foreshadowing that Ren is trying to kill us with a bat? Someone was killing someone with a bat, I think. It's been like a while, but I vaguely remember the very beginning of the novel. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in the classroom scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They gained nothing from saving a crime school tryhard like me. Oh. Eventually there would be a faint sound, similar to when you crack open a walnut, and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what Uishi-san told me.
でですね、そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテにレナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですがね、その中に出てくるんですよ。結構。
何がです？
出てくるんですよ。お社様って単語が。
Yeah. I mean, even that points it more into the mind control thing than the delusion thing. I think that's just a meme. Because, like, if that was recorded from professionals, then that means something weird must be going through her mind, right? And why would it be Oyashiro-sama? Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama.
お社様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rena did, was she saying that Was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happen because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked to Uishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some curse. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Not really. You don't have to, bro. I don't, really. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There was an acceptance side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice? Accepting that Oyashiro curse exists, or that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I'd received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend that meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of whether my opponent was a human or a curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in. For no good reason at all.
圭一くん、さっきから変な顔してる。なんでだろう、太郎。
Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I had realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you look at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. Don't worry, bro. You get happy when you see Sadako. As I stood the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into class. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Yes. It's been so long. I've been so tense these episodes. Instant relaxation with Sadako.
ずる休みの圭一さんにはお似合いですことよ。
Truant. And Rita.
圭一もレナもおはようございますです。
It's nice to see you too, Rita.
おはよう、さとこちゃんにリカち
Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't react to Sadako's trap. Sadako braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently. Aww.
ゃん。なんなんですの？張り合いがありませんわ。圭一、まだ本調子じゃないみたいです。だから今日は加減してあげてね。
Suddenly there was a slap on my shoulder. It hurt a bit.
よ、ケイちゃん、しっかり休んできた？
It was Mion. My mind was full of stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Still think Mion's the most suspicious. Even though I don't actually think she's a culprit. Remember, Keiichi, that hawkish gaze from yesterday.
ああ、おはよ
なんだなんだ。随分と覇気のない挨拶じゃん。 差し入れのおはぎちゃんと食べてくれなかったの？
I'm like this because I ate them. Those words were itching to be blurted out.
やっぱ食欲がなくてさ、いくつかは食べたけど、だいぶ残しちゃったんだ。
Excuse
あれ
me.
じゃあ宿題は？どれがレナの手作りかってのの回答は？
ケイチくん宿題忘れなんだって。
ありゃー。じゃあ仕方ないね。罰ゲーム。ひひひひひ。
Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There's nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maibara, no one would ever suspect them. That had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. Was someone calling me? I don't know. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Chapter break? Sure, shortish episode, but again, I'm not even supposed to be recording right now. No one told me. Why'd my phone lit up? Though I do want more Sadako. At least it's nice to see her after like 3 or 4 episodes. So yeah, I know I've been going on about the delusion theory, but I still think my primary theory is that brainwashing stuff. Though it really does. Maybe he's not like delusional, but I really do think Keiichi's kind of like overstressed to the point where he thinks everyone's suspicious. Because okay, if it was brainwashing, then Rena asking about the mochi and Mion asking about the mochi would be like, they probably wouldn't even be conscious of the fact that the needle was put into the mochi, right? So it seems pretty like, it's like how Teichi's saying, like, it sounds innocent, but they're really trying to kill me or whatever. But I think that's actually is innocent, and if they're brainwashed, and again, it's more unconscious thoughts that they can't really control. I don't know. It was a nice episode. It was a very weird, vivid flashback from or not even a flashback, a vision of what Teichi would have saw when Rena broke the windows. It's kind of odd. You can see Teichi's obviously mental state really deteriorating. I actually think he might do something like bad, like maybe he might even try to attack, maybe kill one of them just because of how like paranoid he's getting. I don't know. I don't want that to happen at all. But yeah, I mean, thanks for watching. I should probably start my next visual novel so I don't overschedule stuff like this. It's kind of cheating. But yeah, as always, I hope you had a fun time. This is pretty good for me. Not too much happened, but enjoyable, as always. And have a good day. Thanks, and bye.